Right. Welcome to Slam. Stress less, automate more. This is a podcast for busy professionals who are done with burnout and ready to reclaim their time. Whether you're working remotely or stuck in the office, we're here to bring you. We're here to help you work smarter, rather, automate the boring stuff, and actually enjoy your day. Each week, we break down real work challenges and give you no fluff strategies to boost productivity, simplify workflows, and keep stress in check. So each week we tackle the real stuff, everyday work headaches, and show you how to handle them with smarter systems, smart strategies, and a little bit of tech magic. But before we get into today's topic, let's meet the crew behind Slam. So let me start with myself. I'm JR. I've spent years working with some of the BPOs in IT Park, deep in the world of quality, operations, and operational excellence. I've seen what works, what burns people out, and where the biggest productivity traps hide. I'm all about helping teams simplify, automate, and build workflows that actually work. Next up, we have Kay.
Hi everyone, my name is Kay. Most of my experience are in the BPO industry. I started as a customer service, down to quality analyst, joined the training team, business consultant manager, and team manager, and so on. But right now, I'm transitioned to work as a VA, where work from home or remote job is alive. That's all. Thank you. So let's have FC, right?
Yes, thanks,
Yes.
Kay. I'm FC, and throughout my career in the BPO sector, I've had the distinct privilege of navigating a multifaceted landscape, wearing not just one hat, but a diverse area of hats. From the foundational aspects of training and quality assurance, ensuring consistent service delivery to the analytical rigor of reports analysts, driving and data informed decisions, I've witnessed the power of strategic support firsthand. My journey has further extended in the vital realms of human resources and recruitment, and I've also delved into the technical backbone of managing an IT team. So that's why I know that Slam isn't just a solution, it's a lifestyle. And right now we have our special guest. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, M. And can you
Happy
introduce
Mother's
yourself?
Day. Hi guys. So glad to be back here at the Slam podcast. So gonna reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm MMM. I am a Cebuana artist, also a creative strategist, and I have been a digital nomad for years. I've also been in client success, also coach talent from VAs to EAs and people also that have just been lost in their lives. I've helped fast growing startups and global teams build high performing cultures as well. I've helped scaled people ops and also just turn client experience into business advantage. And right now I'm working in a digital marketing agency. And yeah, here on out, also building some side projects to the side, but overall, just really excited to be here and also been mothering. So thank you for the happy Mother's Day greeting.
Right.
So now I
So
know
for
we
yeah,
mentioned. Yeah,
go
I
go
go
go.
ahead, Jer.
Yeah. So today's topic is going to be special. It's going to be about VAs, right? So F, will you help me introduce the topic? F.
And
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Nabungol jud ko karong adlaw. But yeah, I think it would be good for us to kind of like rehash where we left off.
Yeah.
So I think in the last episode we talked a lot about VAs and like personal branding and how you can position yourself better. And I think we also had a segue into like burning out, and also we we dived into a lot of misconceptions, no, about like the industry and even the transitioning from the BPO part to the VA world and it
Yeah.
not being easy. So I think I want to start off again with um accessing the job, and I want to also bring in kind of like the perspective coming from a recruitment firm, and like how we did this last episode. I think it would be good to start with misconceptions, because I love misconceptions, no, kanang ganahan kay kog mga unpopular opinions. So, and I'm just gonna bring it straight to you guys, and I will tell you honestly that the VA industry right now, more specifically about VA outsourcing companies, they are messing with the industry right now. And I say this with a lot of thought because back in the day when, let's say just before COVID hit, VAs actually
VAs actually
leveraged
leverage
themselves
themselves.
as kind of like a strategic partner, or somebody of high caliber. But now I want to give off like a very very unsa gani siyang opinion, very unpopular but also kind of true, that the VA recruitment firms are now coming in hot like a BPO, but they also don't want to mask themselves as a BPO. So I'm going to start there. I also want to hear your thoughts, guys, because I know that you guys have been in the BPO industry for the longest time. And I think just me coming in with this thought na kani-ganing mga VA recruitment firms karon, they are now operating like a BPO, but they don't want to call themselves the BPO. And I want to hear your thoughts first, because especially from Kay, who is now a remote worker handling his own client, and what does that make you feel? And I want to ask Kay first. What he thinks about this thought.
One is the remote job. It's a life for me. I'm no longer spending at least 2 hours before my shift, like preparing and traveling. Second is I report directly to an American or to the CEO. It's really advantage because unlike in a BPO industry where you need to compete with your manager, right? Even though that you're not competing with them, but they feel that you're doing good and they are competing against you. So they tend to pull you down. I did not experience that one here. And in terms of working with directly to the CEO, they will really understand. Unlike if working in a BPO, it's like that you're not human. So for me, it's really good. This is the time where I can work with an organization that I can do everything I can to help the organization grow. Because in a BPO, if you think like that, then they will think of you as a competitive. I mean, a competition. So
Or a threat, I would
or
say.
a threat. Yes, it is a threat. So I have experienced that multiple times where I am a threat.
hmm And I think right now also just in the recruitment aspect of things, recruiters, and I'll say this because I've also been a recruiter. I've put myself in the shoes of somebody in the tail end knowing that their sole KPI is to source, hire, onboard, and it's not an easy task because number one, they are competing in a very competitive landscape, and a lot of people think na even if ikaw yung recruiter, like you're the recruiter yourself, it's easy because you think a lot of people are also looking for jobs. But the truth is, it's usually like a number that you're hitting. You're not actually changing lives, to be honest. You're not giving out jobs as you think you're supposed to on a multi-passionate level. It's really more like you're hitting KPIs unrealistic KPIs, sometimes
Mm.
even, and to the point where we can also go back into the topic of retention, because this is also something that's a huge problem in the industry right now, because most VA agencies, it's hard for them to retain, because most of the people that they are also hiring for VAs are just basically digital nomads, and they're not only nomads in terms of like personal address, but more so like nomads gani sila into like thinking, hey, there's still a better opportunity for me here and there. So they're constantly exploring. And the problem with most people also that get into recruitment also for the VA agencies, they don't really understand what they're getting into. They think it's super easy now. Okay, I'm helping a fellow Filipino grow, but in the end, it's also more like, am I giving the right opportunity to the right person? So it's really more than just like hiring and sourcing and sourcing. So that's a hot take that I have.
Is that the reason why most VA this application has lots and lots of exams?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to go through like 10 exams from the IQ to the personality to whatever, and in the end you
Yes.
don't get the job.
Yes. And sometimes some companies even ask for sample work. And to me, that's unfair. And the reason why a lot of VA agencies do that is because they need to expand their pool all the time. And one really, meron siya kanang business secret, but a lot of clients look for replacement in like less than 2 weeks. So they think they have it all figured out when they hire somebody in 1 week. But then in 2 weeks, the client mapulan and he goes like, no, I need a replacement ASAP. And mostly on like their service level agreement of most VA agencies, it's really more like, you need to give me the replacement in less than 2 weeks also. So that's why recruiters are scrambling here and there, trying to find like the next hot shot who can do the job better. But then that's also another part sa recruiter, a burden na po niya carry. So yeah, they have a lot of like assessments, a lot of filtering going on. But then it really all boils down to, if you're a virtual assistant looking for a job in a VA agency, you have to look into what is like their framework, what is like their matrix, or like what are they really assessing for? Because at the end of the day, the clients, they're really just looking for somebody reliable, regardless of technical skills. When you're in the VA industry and when you're plainly just a virtual assistant, you have to be just really reliable. Skills you can learn along the way. And most especially Americans, if you have US clients, kasagarang US clients, they're very big on investing on you. So you can even open up like, hey, I want to learn a new tool. I want to expand my knowledge. I want to, you know, get a course, get a book. They're almost always usually supportive. So the learning curve, I don't think is um quite difficult. Pero ang imong pagka-reliable, is that something that you could vouch for yourself? So that's also something that most assessments can't test for. You cannot test for culture. You cannot test for reliability. And it's just so tiring to see when VA recruitment agencies have like 5 step assessments where they cannot gauge commitment, they cannot gauge reliability again, and they can't also just gauge just the mere partnership aspect. And yeah, I think that's also something that most VA recruitment agencies have to like look beyond the technical skills.
Mm. Uh, I think, I mean, based on my experience, I think that the the risk working in a VA industry is you're always replaceable, right?
Mhm.
they can replace you anytime they want, because the moment that I mean joined this organization, they fired someone.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that they thought that I can handle the task of that person. So walay due process.
Right.
If like they feel that you are not contributing enough, then they will terminate you right away.
Yep.
Um, the good side po, Anna, is if they think that you are contributed a lot and they grow, they would then you will get a lot of incentives. So
Yes.
that's what happened. So I think if in a BPO mo pwede ra ka mo slack off, here wala gyud kay chance na mo slack off. The moment na mo slack off ka, then that's a risk of losing your job.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And like I think we mentioned this in the last episode, there are policies in the BPO sector that actually protect you. But in here, it's really more of like a handshake agreement. It's like, okay, uh, thank you for like being able to do my emails and my calendar. But the minute that you are not contributing to the standard that I'm expecting, boom, immediately disposable. And it's good naman na may ubang VA recruitment agencies that actually protect you. You know, they put you back into the pool. But then again, what is this? What are the chances of you landing a client in the next 2 to 3 days? It usually takes a lot of time for you to get matched again with a newer client, or you know, um, be with another company. And it's not all the time that they take a shot at disposed VAs already, because they're already seeing some negative flags on you. So that is
Mhm.
something that, you know, you have to watch out for. And then now I want to share something, you know, that leads to productivity more so, because the way that I coach VAs as well is they always ask me this thing like, hey, Miss MMM, like, I'm really curious what's my future like here. I just want to be able to future proof. So how can I get clients nga dili gani sila magsalig og recruitment firm? How can I get a US client, a UK client, an Australian client, or just any client worldwide? How can I make my freelance business sustainable? Where do I get leads? Where do I get, you know, how do I make a sales machine of myself? So we mentioned this again in the last episode, and I am a big advocate about branding, or just personal branding as a whole, and LinkedIn altogether. LinkedIn for me is the best platform for you to be able to advertise yourself, diba? And the reason why I also advocate for personal branding so much is because this is how you will leverage yourself as a thought partner, a strategic manager, things like that, way beyond just the label of you being a virtual assistant. And I also tell these folks that I coach na don't limit yourself to just one title, okay? Because a lot of virtual assistants don't know that they are an operations associate. A lot of virtual assistants don't know that they're already doing project management. A lot of them don't even know that they're already diving into some super niche titles like kung ano day sila, SEO specialist na day sila, just because a client has been wanting them to focus on a certain area, which is like, for example, SEO. So these things you can use to your leverage. And I want to share one story of a friend of mine. She started as an executive assistant slash VA for one client in the US. And what she did was, you know, she did sales processes, she did calendar management, and all of the whatnots of doing sa kanang mga VA good. And then one time her client asked her, like, hey, let's just name her L. She was like, hey, L, I need you to book me for a podcast, because this podcast is like a great channel for me to advertise our SaaS, for example. And then so she booked it, and it gave her this high. And she was like, wow, I did that so swiftly. I did that so seamlessly. Then she started creating SOPs, how to book, you know, how to book your executive for podcast, until eventually this became her niche. So she's now a podcast booker. She created her own website, she created her own brand. So founders from all over the globe now, um, they book seats with her just so they could, be her client, kumbaga. So, it's always just really that spark of passion. Bisag unsa pa na kagamay, a passion is really a passion. And you could literally like leverage off of that. It goes back again and ties back into what we talked about last episode about ikigai. So the beauty about what Elle did is that she leveraged off something that she really liked. She leveraged off something that she knew she was going to be successful at. And she knew, number three, that this is going to be a powerhouse when she makes this her own system, her own business. So there's that. And right now, she qualifies about 10 leads per month at a really good pricing strategy. Um, I don't know how many she converts out of the 10, but let's just say bisag 50% lang imuhang ma-book ana nga clients, it's already big money. I can't fully disclose how much she's making because it's like a tiered service program, but basically she's well off just doing that now. She gave up doing the rest of the VA stuff like the calendar management, the inbox management. She focused on just podcast booking, and she's doing super well. Yeah,
That's good.
Finding that niche. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
super niche down.
So
So
we can take formula and apply it elsewhere, right? So you find
Yes.
your the thing that you like doing. It start with what is it you want to do first, because without that, and then you just end up being good at doing it, but you don't love it, then you'll end up going like half-assing it, rabito.
Mm-hmm.
right. What was the Joker's slogan again? If you're good at something, don't do it for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the code. Maugid na siyang thought. If you're good at something for free, I mean, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. Chances are you can price it to a premium. And this is something that a lot of um, VAs tend to overlook upon themselves. They're so obsessed with labeling themselves as like a virtual assistant for hire, but they forget that there's just this one tiny thing that they're good at that they could actually brand themselves for it, position themselves for it. And yeah, it tends to get overlooked because this is the blame nila, no? Because they're doing it out of just, a stable paycheck, or, just like they don't basically have the time and energy or even the opportunity to even like figure out how can I really even brand myself? How can I start as like a freelance business, a robust freelance business to be specific. So yeah.
So say I'm a fresh grad. From what I know right now, from what you're saying, I think there are a couple of types of VAs that I can go to. Like one you mentioned is VA agency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Two is to become a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it the same with the niche thing? Freelancer and niche specialist or niche.
Yes. So basically, if you want to, let's put it this way. If you're a freelancer, chances are you're doing everything alone, or like you're a solopreneur, something like that. So if you're a freelancer, you belong under the category of somebody that does services for XYZ. Niche to imong pangutana sa usano. Niching down is like literally what is the theme of your service? What is that theme, the lore of your business? What is that theme of the service that you're actually advertising for? The service, what's your service menu? And you belong to a certain niche. When you've figured out like what are you good at, or where your talent is taking you, and then you tie that to your freelance business. So now it becomes, you're a freelancer to a certain niche. So let's say, for example, so F, what are you good at? And I want to ask you one thing. What are you good at, and what do you love most? And then we can try to figure out your niche from there.
Oh, one sec.
Yes, on the spot guy, But yeah, if you think like, I can throw out examples, but go ahead if you want to share.
um. Yeah, yeah, you put me on the spot, but going back to my question. So you got the VA agency, you got the freelancers, and now I'm seeing some of the like a BPO that caters to VAs, like the seat leasing to VAs, somewhat like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with that, three types of VA LOBs, what would be the best for fresh grads or new to this industry?
I
By
would
your
say, and I don't think we can mention brands here, no. But I would say look for a VA agency that offers free training. And I think there are quite a lot right now. Just do your own research for the listeners and the audiences that are listening right now. So I would say look for the ones that offer free training. And then usually manggod sa kani mga free training, they already pull the good candidates from here. And once you're pulled out of, getting matched for a client, that is already a great experience for you to start. Um, I don't recommend newbies to start doing their freelance business unless if they think their level of idea is a startup level na like, oh, I'm building a software as a service business, or I have this really great product idea and I really consider myself as a startup founder. But if you want to go into the road of virtual assistants, go for a VA agency that offers free training. There are quite a lot right now. I can't mention brands because it's appropriate for this platform, but there are a lot right now that actually offer these free training programs. And yeah, they pull you, they interview you. If you make it after training, and you have an opportunity already to like work with them as long as you pass. So that's my recommendation for the newbies.
Right. So yeah, when it comes to like training, you can also do self trained, right? But the good thing about that is not only you'll get training from them and it's proven to work, right? As opposed to like self studying, you can also get that experience, which then
Mm-hmm.
you can use when you take it outside, when you decide to leave that company and just do remotely, right? So I think
Yes.
that's just one advantage that you can mention in terms of joining. So what do you call that term? Like companies that offer VA recruitment companies? Is that it? Or
Yes.
the
right? Is
VA
VA
agency or something
recruitment.
like that.
Yeah, VA agency training. Just pop out those keywords. Like maybe if you Google, siguro, naagid na, like na dyan mo gawas. I know a few companies that are already doing that. Like they offer free training, and you basically just have to book a slot. They have like slots available per month. And it also comes with some certain qualifications. So now let's talk about, what if I don't qualify? So where should I go? I would say um just really tailor fit your resume if you want to join any VA organization, like a VA industry, VA firm, VA agency. Just tailor fit your resume according to the job posting. And if you're a fresh grad, naman, I'll just be honest. A lot of companies, they like fresh grads too, because the good thing about mga fresh grad manggod is kanang gikan pa gid sila eskwela inana, so they like the excitement, they like the hunger, and there's a lot of VA agencies that are also like really excited about like fresh grads. So it's really a matter of like taking a shot at it. If you do it right away as like being like a freelancer, my tip or my advice is just really more like makurat niya mo. You might get overwhelmed. And if you haven't really experienced so much of it might overwhelm you to the point that it might tarnish your name. And when you're starting out, it's good to experience some failures and some setbacks, no? But you're young. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of room for you to grow. So do it in a way where uh there's a good community of people now when you're doing it. So that's why I highly suggest go for VA agencies that do the training so you could also meet people of the same mind, the same status as you. And yeah, you actually really learn from people in the community that you join. So that's my advice.
And those fresh grads are those who are willing to accept the $2 and $2.5 per
Yes.
hour. So,
Yes.
I mean, actually, I've known someone who's fresh grad IT, and he's really good at creating websites. So what he did is he has the resume as graduate for that one, but what he did is he created a lot of portfolios. What he did
Mm,
is created a lot of templates, website,
yes.
even though it's not needed. He just added it to his to his portfolio. Same
Mm-hmm.
goes with this person also create a Facebook account where he
Mm,
create ads from time to time and puts it there and add it to his resume. So our
yeah.
client can check those how that ad works well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? Portfolios are really good, but you know what's even better than portfolios? Because ang general connotation of the portfolios, no, and when you say portfolios, it's like you're talking about like, oh, he built website A, website B, website C, inana, diba? And if you're like a graphic designer, you're building like a portfolio of the stuff that you have, generated,
Created.
let's say.
Yeah.
The better thing to me, I always say this too, especially those freelancers or VAs that are going into the creative route. I always say, don't showcase your portfolio. And why? Because there's something better that you could showcase. You can showcase case studies. And why are case studies more important than portfolios? Number one, case studies, they tell a story and it not just show the result of what you did. Because when you do portfolios, it often just shows what you've done. But if you present like a case study, it walks the stakeholder, the client, or anybody involved, it walks them through the why it was done, how it was done, and what impact it made. And if you're also just starting out and you don't know how to create case studies, I'm sure there's somebody, Siguro, like your friend, he's a website designer, no? um let's say for example he has a family member that just started like an okay business, for example. He could have approached that friend and be like, hey, I'll build you a website, I'll make a case study out of it, and he can just formulate the how, the why, and what problem did he solve. And the reason why I also like showcasing case studies instead of portfolios also is because it highlights your problem solving ability. And the truth is, clients don't just want pretty work, they want solutions. And if you showcase a case study, it proves how you solve real world problems, how you navigate a challenge, and how you were able to drive a certain result. And case studies also just build trust faster. Like it gives the right context, the right metrics that support what you did. It builds the credibility and the position. And, as somebody compared to just showing off the visuals, the ay, guwapa man akong gibuhat, di ba? And it's very persuasive, of course, because even if you're wearing the shoes of the client, you'd want to hire somebody that has solved a certain problem. You want to hire somebody that has already transformed, you know, has already transformed the case rather than just showing you a gallery of their assets or screenshots of what they did. And I like that because clients get to see your approach, no, by just one glance. And it saves you away also. If ikaw sad ang tao nga nang apply, it saves you away from like trying to sell yourself because you already did that. And here's my proof that like, hey, I already solved for case study A, case study B. It's up to you now if you want me to get involved in your organization.
All right.
Right.
Right. So as I was saying earlier, that clients are business owners and they're looking to see some ROI in their work, right? So before they decide to invest on you, they want to see your case studies as proof. They want data, especially the analytical ones. And most companies I mean, most clients are like that because they're wired to be to think business and stands to gain from spending on you. They're not just spending for the heck of it, right?
Yeah. And the reason why I also like case studies is because it's like showing them that you care about the KPI. And when you show, compared to just showing, your portfolio of pretty graphics, pretty assets, it really goes to show that you care and you actually know what you want to solve. Because some clients know they want you to just share the KPI with them. They want you to share the OKR with them. And the reason why clients also hire VAs or just a thought partner again is because they want somebody to do it with. And most startup founders, and I love stories of startup founders, magid no, like passionate kay ko about startups. And even in YC, Y Combinator, they actually encourage founders to get a co-founder because, and I also want to talk about, I don't know if you're familiar with the book EOS by Gino Wickman. There has to be two people daw kuno in a business. So if co-founders mo, duhajud mo, there has to be the visionary and the integrator. The visionary outlines what is the vision of the company, where are we headed in 10 years, etc. And the integrator is what integrates this vision into operational success. And a lot of times, the VA in the VA industry, di ba, again, I mentioned it last episode na you can't just be a task doer. You also have to be an integrator to a visionary. So, mo gina siya basic principles nga dili nimo dali makatunan as a VA. Later na nimo mahibaw-an, hala, partner man gyud ko sa akong kliyente, no? Ako man ay nagpadala niya to success. And it's a cutthroat business at the end of the day because and that's also the reason why VA agencies exist because they know the value of VAs. They know how they can milk out of these CEOs, these founders. They know how much they can milk out of these organizations just having a virtual assistant. Number one, it's more cost effective. And number two, they know the value of hiring somebody remotely, especially in regions like the Philippines. Kay daghan biya kay underlooked talent dire. And the one thing that people also undermine is again, pricing yourself at a premium. You have to know good what your values are so that you know how much you should also price yourself. And I want to share this quote because I love this quote so much. If people think like ang understatement magod that people think na you get what you deserve or you get what you want, but the reality is you get what you negotiated for. And if you don't know your inner value, you don't know your certain circumstances as to why you got there, it's really more like because wala na ko ginegotiate ang ako ang sitwasyon karon. So there's another hot take that ties into the philosophy of being human. Yeah.
So, speaking of being human, and in the world, the new trend right now with AI, we talk about
Mm-hmm.
it in this podcast a lot that AI does not replace human, but it helps us better productivity and all that. What would be your take on VAs and learning AI tools
Okay.
or
I have
enhancing themselves, basically?
I have I have two takes on this. Number one, if you're a VA or bisag dili lang gani VA, or if you're just a worker right now and you're not using AR. Oh my god, AR is augmented reality. But if you're not using AI right now in this day and age, you're a fool. Like ambot lagi ninyo, like if you're not using AI right now to enhance yourself, you're totally missing out. So get on Chat GPT. There's free versions, do it. Another take that I have here is we also have to accept the fact that VAs can literally get depleted because also of AI. And
Mhm.
I know that we still need the human touch and all of these things because needed ba gid gihapon ng interaction nga human to human. But as we grow and as tomorrow comes, the more and more technology is also enhancing, almost to the point that we don't kind of need each other. But I know that's a really sad reality, but we also have to be ready to accept that fact in case that happens. So get yourself up to speed, know the latest in trends, know the latest in tech. And if you're putting yourself behind and you're blaming the world for it, you're blaming the robots to be exact, that's such a loser move, to be honest. And I think for me right now, there's no way that you can miss out on the technological revolution that is, you know, showcasing itself right now. Dili gid na nimo murag malikayan. You have to get into it because if you don't, you're not only missing things, but you're a step behind. So para nako, everybody needs to get their hands off of hands on AI even more. And my suggestion ganito to the VAs that I coach is get on trends, like subscribe to newsletters that actually tell you what's the latest news in tech. Like for example, subscribe to like Sam Altman or just OpenAI newsletters or really any thought leader that has a lot of things to share about this groundbreaking thing. Okay, what if tomorrow they then decide to launch 4.0 man ang chat GPT Renault? What if the next 5.0 is already like super enhanced and I can literally just fire a 5-person team and they now operate my business. And I think it's a matter of just being in the know. Kay di gyud ka pwede man mababiyaan if nakakaani nga industry. So that's my take. And yeah, robots are really learning so fast right now. To be honest, LLM is now at a high speed. When we talk about NLP and how just NLP is evolving, I mean, come on, 15 to 20 years ago, you had to write code the way code was written 20 years ago. Now you can speak to Chat GPT like it's your maid. And the revolution from day zero to where we are right now is just remarkable. And we can't we can't say good na kanang hala sa akin ni sa robot kay advanced na kay si robot. You really have to be it's almost like a job na you really have to be in the know. That's it.
That's why
I think
everybody needs to listen to Slam.
yeah.
Exactly.
I think to answer your question, FC, it depends to the organization, no? Or what type of business that you are in. But as far as VA, I don't think VA agents or I mean can be fully replaced by AI. Even though right now we try to integrate AI to our system so that somehow it lightens our workload. But
Mm-hmm.
there are some industry that they can fully integrate AI without the use of any human. Have you heard of the dark factories of China? I think it's fully no human na
Automated.
good. Yeah, fully automated na good. But there are still human interventions as such as kanang pag-turn on nila, of course, they need engineers,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yep.
wala na gid sila yung mga factory worker. That's why it's called dark room because there's no light, because there's no need for that. But it is fully automated. So
Yes.
for that industry, sadly, daghan na walang trabaho.
Yeah. And I think just recently, no, UPS, I think, I don't know if I'm getting the news right now, so don't quote me on this, but it's really just more of like a hearsay. I think UPS is firing about like 20 to 30% of their workforce, and they're now replacing them with robots. And I totally believe no nga moabot jud ta na nga panahon na, of course, you guys, if you put yourself in the shoes of a business owner, you really want cost effective solutions. And it's something that you can't blame. It's just a hard knock truth that you have to accept. That's why again, I put it back into just be in the know. Dapat di ka mabiyaan sa balita. You can't be behind the news because chances are when you're gonna be behind, you really get left behind. And that's why I also advise anybody in any industry, always upskill. Always try to learn something new every day. Always, the news might not always be bright, but try to at least turn on the TV once in a while and see what the people are talking about and see what are the trends, etc. Just for you to be in the know. So yeah, that's interesting about is that a dark room, dark
The
factory?
dark, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
dark factory. I mean, for UPS, no, I work with UPS for almost 2 years, and I think they're doing the cost cutting now because labor, fuel cost is very expensive. So I think that's
Yeah.
the reason why they are, I mean, trimming down their people. As far as Tech Mahindra, UPS, I think they're growing in terms of customer service because they're still doing manual. I know
Mm.
some logistic company that do automation, such as Sketopia of Australia. They're doing it fully
Mm.
automated, like from packaging, sending all of those things. But in terms of hiring VA, they are growing because the
Wow.
machine is not perfect. Like nag-order
Yeah.
ang isa og shampoo, nagyaw-yaw ang customer kay lahi ang nasud, dildo di ang nasud. So something like
That's so
that.
strange. Yeah. But yeah,
And
with you on that, good na, dili good na pwede totally replaceable
no,
taog
it's not
robots.
correct.
I don't believe that. Maybe in the next 1,000 years when it's already post-apocalyptic kana siguro.
Asa naman
But
taan na gibutang.
in heaven, I hope. Hopefully we're saved. But I think just right now, if you're in this industry, get to know as much tools as you can. I have this hack actually that I teach some of the VAs that I coach is that you can actually train a GPT now, diba? And I don't know if you can do that with Gemini or Claude, but in Chat GPT, of course, you can already, create your own, you can prompt your own GPT now. So what I did for myself is I also work in like client success. So what I did is I trained a model. I loaded up with all the client information, every framework that they need to know to write an email, for example. And you can even integrate it with the API of like your ClickUp, your Notion, para makagets na jud siya sa tanan information. And it's just a one-stop shop of me just prompting what I need for the day. Like I'm like, hey, um, draft me an email to XYZ because ABC, and use the framework that I taught you. Nginana. So if you're not using AI right now to scale yourself and to also just maximize your inner potential, then again you're left behind. I also use AI sometimes as I go through ideas, and it's been incredibly helpful for me because labi na nga, I'm also in the industry right now where I have to do a lot of analysis, 'di ba? And do you know the kind of work that we used to do before? Wala pa gyud ang AI. For example, just the little formulas in Excel, they already bug your mind, 'di ba? But then now with AI, you can literally just ask it right away and it gives you the answers in seconds. So, siya di pa ka ma-productive, ana. And if you're not using it, you have to hop on the bandwagon of AI because yeah, it will definitely make your life easier and better.
Right. Yeah, and we just talked about it from our previous episode. Like, it doesn't have to be like a structure, like a complicated thing to do with AI. You can communicate with it in a simplest form. You can start off with that, right? It don't have to go on advanced yet. Which is a
Yep.
pity for other companies, because there are companies that I know that are not only depriving themselves of AI, they're really like um traditional that way. Murag, the fear of AI. And I'm talking about the boomers owned companies, right?
Yeah.
Traditional family, owned company. And not only that,
Yep.
they're also depriving themselves of VA option. They're so traditional that they don't want employees, despite the circumstances. They don't want the remote option even, right?
Yeah.
So there's that.
Tinood na. And just to share my take also on boomers, it's because
Yeah.
if you compare how boomers the lifestyle of the boomers are super different. Number one, they used to go to libraries. And when I say they used to go to libraries, the process of them going to a library is like it's like the chances are most like, hey friend, come with me to the library to learn about to find a recipe on a chicken adobo. And they actually learn that together. So um the way right now, if I compare nimo og bisag millennial, Gen Z to Gen Alpha, we just Google shit. And for them, it's like it's kita ka sa gap lang, ana. They can't adapt easily because they literally had to go through like tons and tons of things for them to be able to adapt to change. And not that it's quite sad. I actually even believe that there's pros and cons to it, right? I actually even believe that it's kind of quite sad in our part because we don't learn in a community anymore. We really just go into our phones. We Google what we're curious about, and then we got our answers in seconds. And we don't just get one answer. We get a million pages of answers, and we get to decide na gani based off of the cognitive bias that we have in our head. But when
Yes.
boomers learned before, they literally learned in groups. Chances are they had to invite a friend to come with them to the library. They had to invite that friend to open up the book with them. They had to invite a friend to read the next chapter with them. And then they discussed together, which part should we believe in? Which part of the hypothesis do you think is more believable? Pero kita karon, we do shit on our own. And the fact that we have like technology like AI right now to even 10x our productivity is just so insanely um it's so insanely surprising to the boomer. It's so insanely surprising to the point na unbelievable kayo for them. And with that thought of being unbelievable eliminates the trust. So I can't blame them too. They've been through a lot. Their parents came from war. So di naman ko mo kind of like musukol in a way because they are they I have boomer parents, and the funny thing about it is lahi jud tag approach nila, and we come from two different worlds, and right now just meeting in the middle of like the technology going on karon maglisod jud sila adjust. And yeah, it's quite sad, but also there's some pros to it.
Mm. Mm. Right.
So
And oh yeah, go.
go go go.
I was just going back to how AI is trending and how AI can basically replace jobs. So, Mike, the question would be, we know how AI searches, search engine works, right? Um, for the benefit of those who know, it searches the whole page. It reads through the whole page of your website or whatever, um, and doesn't focus on keywords. Now, since we're talking about VAs and niches and freelancers, we there is what we call those SEO specialists, which you mentioned before, and
Yeah.
what are the implications of AI search engines on SEO, and also the residual effects on Google Ads, since Google
Mm,
Ads is reliant on keywords.
mm,
So, do you have any take on that?
yeah. So the hottest take right now is, and I'll just break it down to you as simple as, kainom to mo ng Spider-Man meme. You know that Spider-Man meme nga katong si
The
Spider-Man
three.
nag-point siya.
Yeah.
No, Spider-Man was just pointing at another Spider-Man.
Mm.
So basically, AI and LLM right now are just pointing to each other like they're the same Spider-Man. So, to get into detail, AI reads SEO optimized content based on keywords, still based on meta descriptions, right? So the crawling, how LLMs crawl to give you, like, let's say for example, an AI overview is basically the same way SEO crawls for that data. Yes. So in a general aspect, AI helps create um SEO answers fast too. So AI learned SEO. Now it writes SEO, and soon it might make traditional SEO irrelevant, but that's still a very shaded territory. Don't quote me on this, because right now, even in the industry, very recently, lisod kay na siya nga topic karon nga i i-talk about and i-discuss, and then we'll get to paid ads later on. um AI, the AI people, basically they're saying SEO can be irrelevant soon as AI has been evolving. But to me, um when we go back into paid ads, do you remember how Google Ads before did SEM, which was like search engine marketing? So you
Yeah.
pay to become the top spot of a certain keyword, kana, 'di ba?
Yeah.
So now Google is actually exploring a way that they can monetize off of AI overviews. And they're now going to treat AI overviews the same way that they treated paid ads, the same way that they did SEM. Although that's not yet official, but that's the rumor circulating around karon. So again, unsa tayo mong question about niching down, and like what's the implication on a VA? Is that the
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Okay, so number one, if you're, I want to take a step back from this question again of just limiting the abilities of a VA or any remote worker, just limited to SEO or paid ads or whatever. Let's talk about brand strategy, because I, for one, that comes in digital marketing too. Moingon jud ko nga SEO, LLM, even social media, paid ads, they're all just tiny fingers helping you lift up a good brand strategy. So it still all boils down to a well-rounded branding strategy, because branding positions you to be reliable. Branding positions you for trust. And branding also positions you at your location, at your advantage. So if you're a VA right now and let's say you're doing well on LinkedIn, you don't have to worry about SEO, because if you're getting leads and your business is getting generated, let's say from LinkedIn, you don't need to worry about SEO. But if you are too focused on SEO right now, just learn and learn and learn SEO so much na to the point hindi sa ka mabiyaan, it won't be a problem. So it's really about hitting, the right goal for you, the right KPIs also for your brand. So mo na siya, just a general aspect. And sometimes a lot of people think na, okay, I'm ranking in number one, I'm the top spot, blah, blah, blah. But ranking doesn't also equate to traffic. So I don't think that that should be a worry. It's all about like measuring the right metric for you. Because a lot of people put no, and they're too focused on being number one here, number one there. But is it really converting into sales? Right? And I think that should be any business's focus, whether you're a VA or startup, any organization. Diba sales man yun ang nagpa-validate sa imong business. So there's no need for you to worry about the ever-evolving trends everywhere, as long as everything is optimized for conversion.
And I want to add something like, you know how when you search for something on Gemini or ChatGPT, um they always send you or place in the sources.
Yep.
Um, so that's something that SEO specialists should also learn or say delve into. Uh, Research on how to become part of that source links, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, no, ako ra yung maingon ana because it's still a very evolving playing field. And I'm actually subscribed to kanang industry news lang sa SEO pirmi ba. It's always an ever evolving field because sometimes Google doesn't even know what it crawls for. So there's a lot of like changes all the time in the Google algorithm too. And it's AI right now is just also reshaping the playing field. And it's more about like unsa tawag ani, like real authority lang gani. So if for example you're brand X and you're number one in an AI summary from Gemini or Chat GPT, chances are nganong ikay number one dito is because you had a good branding strategy. And it's not just all about like ranking number one because you made your page super SEO optimized, because LLMs also crawl for like trust. It crawls everywhere. It crawls for like what other, like the backlinks too, the same way SEO also crawls for it. But see, chat GPT pod or see any AI tool, it's also biased pod to the way you interact, to how the user interacts into its own model, right? So if you want an unbiased result, go incognito, because your AI is most likely already adjusting to their memory of you. So mabias gihapon na ang iyahang mga tubag based on how it knows you. So go incognito. That's most likely where the results are fair, and it doesn't involve what it knows about you. So yeah. Does that make sense? I know, like, kuan kaning a field, no? To be honest, in the SEO industry right now, this is a super hot take. And
Right.
it's a very sensitive topic to most SEO specialists. And I'm not kidding. Like, and another thing that's been going on right now in the industry is it's so hard mangod to how do you say this? It's so hard to measure the success of SEO. So I'll give you one case. Let's say you're looking for a detergent powder, right? And so you would search detergent powder. And mangita na ka, your usual UX is they would be looking towards page one of Google kasi may number one diri, Ariel, Tide, etc. blah blah blah. And then magsigig search, 'di ba? And let's say si user, uh naka-trust na siya ni Tide. Ni-research naman siya sa website ni Tide nga, anong Tide akong gamiton, blah, blah, blah. So, all the while, nag-authority si Tide, kaya na may content si Tide nga, why are they better than Ariel, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. And then, user all of a sudden clicks off, leaves the session. So, inig-abot na sa GA4, in the end, ang event, let's say. And then now, later on, si Tide nagpa-paid ad sa day sa Facebook. Kani abli man si user sa Facebook. Kita man si user nga naay ad si Tide. Didto man i-check out si user. But si user nakailan ni Tide because he googled for it. Paid ads will attribute the success to the paid ads, but in reality, si user knew Tide from Google. So do you see the attribution that doesn't make sense there? And it's so hard for SEO to claim its win.
Yeah,
So
it's hard
now
to
if yeah, so now
avoid.
if you put yourself in a business perspective, you need a well-rounded strategy. Kaya kung conversion focused ra ko nga business, I need a well-rounded strategy that users that are looking for me to Google me, bisag paid ads pa na sila gikan, bisag Google search pa na sila gikan, they will in the end still convert to me. So do you get that? And at the end of the day, most businesses just care about the sales. They don't care where it came from. But if you come from an industry of like paid ad specialist, SEO specialist, maglalis gid mo who won, right? And it's a never-ending discussion. And I think that's also something that's really crazy right now in like in the marketing industry because it's a messy field. And even like a sales rep would come into the territory of marketing and say, no, I closed that deal. But marketing worked late nights to make sure that campaign went on really well. Diba?
Yeah.
So there.
So yeah, that just adds more complexities to SEO, apart from it being close to like nigh extinction. I don't wanna conclude to that, but you already mentioned it na SEO
You
can
have your
can be,
SEO.
yeah, uh might be replaced, or it's going, I think it's safe to say it's going through something like an evolution with AI
Yeah.
being
Right,
incorporated.
right.
It's
Yeah.
going through a very, very sensitive experimental phase. But
Yes.
Mhm.
if you actually look at the keyword, is SEO dead? Long tail na siya nga phrase no nga is SEO dead. Magtanaw nimo ang iyang graph ana, nagkasaka ang iyang cost per click with that phrase alone. So meaning SEO is not dead in a way because that keyword alone is already ranking for millions. And it's a very hot topic that they are really discussing right now with Google because namagod ang alas nila good right now. And
Mhm.
to also share a little industry insight is Bing is also like really trying to crawl at the top. And a lot of rumors are saying that the engineers at Bing are now working tirelessly to make their model, I guess right now the goal is just to beat off of Google and see what they can do better. Because number one, we could see Google run and Bing is also just let's say climbing to the top with their new models. So yeah, something for you guys to also watch out for.
Yeah. and and it has been like, right, Google has been at the top for how many years now, so and Bing is trying to be robust in its platform.
Yes. And again, if it all comes back down again to like let's say VAs and personal brand, I just want to reiterate that it's all about building real authority. So if you're in the business of, you know, remote work, virtual assistant, freelance, it's all about building that real thought leadership, that real authority nga gipangita sa imong ICP. And a good, well-rounded strategy, of course. And of course, pairing yourself with the right AI tools so that you can get better ahead with your work. And of course, like um, just making yourself, ready to face any scenario with a growing and evolving landscape of tech para di ka mabiyaan. That's all I have to say. Okay.
Right. So for those of you who just joined in, so we talked about earlier with we have our special guest M who talked about the essentials of being a VA, how to be valuable at work by building your brand, in some industry, good to know information, right? So would you like to give a statement to our viewers before we close out this segment?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, I want to say thank you for inviting me and also trusting me to be part of the show. More power to Slam. I really enjoyed this conversation with you guys. And I think just for the listeners and for those trying to pursue a career in any industry, any remote industry, which I really love, don't be afraid to be yourself, is my first advice. Second is don't be afraid also to be vulnerable and seek for help if you need to. There's a growing community of aspiring and even seasoned VAs that are ready to teach you their ways, and it's just really all a matter of like being resourceful about it. And third is more power to everybody here. um I know that we are all doing this out of passion, not just sheer luck, pero kana lingaw kayo makadungog og stories sa gani bitaw, not just in the space of the podcast, but like this was also like a good opportunity for me to look back and see how far I've come, sharing these stories as well, especially from some of the people that I know. And yeah, I'm just really incredibly grateful for the time that we shared here. And that's all. Hopefully na pa sunod. So thank you, Slam, and hope there's more episodes to come.
There will be. So I'm somehow confused, if I'm part of the host or the listener, because I learned a lot and it was very insightful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sakayo. I hope that was not as overwhelming as I imagined it to be. Ang kaba ko daghan kita gistoryaan, but hopefully that will inspire anybody here and anybody that listens. So, yeah, again, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even me, I've applied some of the things that you said. I do have an interview tomorrow for a
Hey.
job. So I've
Hey.
applied some of the things that you said to practice interviews, check the interview questions beforehand, like that, and answer
Mm-hmm.
it. So I've learned a lot from you.
Right. And what good is having this podcast if we can't apply it ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and to no, thank you for showering us with your not just your presence but your insightful um
Your passion.
expertise in the so many fields that uh you've experienced throughout your whole vast career, right?
Oh, thank
Uh,
you. Thank you so much.
and once again, happy Mother's Day to you and to all the mothers out there, right? Be it virtual or physical or even the fur mothers.
Yes, yes. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Without the mothers, there will be no children.
They will be in
Yes, yes, that's so true. Thank you,
Now,
Sagayo, guys. Like, it was
yeah,
inspiring.
yeah. And you inspired us and as well as our listeners. So once again, and sadly, all good things must come to an end for this episode, but definitely looking forward to more M, right? But
Yeah,
for now,
Yes.
there
wraps
will
up
be.
to episode. Yeah, there's more to come, right? So
Yes, yes.
yeah. So that wraps up today's episode of the Slam podcast. So we talked about all things virtual assistant and the power of building your own VA brand. Whether you're just starting out or already deep in the grind, remember this: your brand is more than a logo or a tagline, it's the experience you deliver, the consistency you bring, and the value you stand for. So don't just be another VA in the sea, be the brand that stands out, solve problems, and scales with purpose. Thanks for tuning in. If this episode sparked ideas or gave you the push you needed, share it, drop a comment, and don't forget to connect with us on our socials. Until next time, stay sharp, stay level headed, automate smart, and make off your mark. This is the Slam Podcast signing off. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
flowers.